it's an interesting balance point, isn't that? We haven't replaced Luis Diaz. We don't have that sort of style of footballer. I think we are still figuring out how we attack. I think it is fair to say, which maybe isn't too much of a surprise considering all the changes, how many players have come in and out, and not just that, but the fact that Isak's not had a pre-season. He's not even sort of started the season in a Liverpool shirt. So you're getting your new number 9 up to speed. At the same time, you're getting another number 9 up to speed. And it's looked a little bit like that so far.
There's just a lot of people getting up to speed. You can do the same point around McAllister. You've got the idea of Viet's learning relationships and teammates, which I think is... for me, feels as though it's about to come to fruition.
Yeah.
I think we're now at the point where it's perfectly reasonable to say that Florian Wirtz is very unfortunate not to have an assist.
Yeah.
It feels as though it's hard lines more than anything that he's doing now. So, I think that Wirtz is about to come to the party. Listen, I think shape's a big part of this. The manager does things that I think, are... So, Chiesa has the game he has against Southampton, and he comes off the bench against Palace. And I just sort of wonder whether or not the right thing to have done would have been to have started Chiesa against Palace, because I refuse to believe the plan was to start Isak against Palace. So could you have given Chiesa an hour through the middle? Now, I keep referring to it as a big boys game. Chiesa and Rio have not started one of those yet. I will say again what I keep saying, and it's remarkably boring, and I apologise for being boring, but it just remains true. Neither have been introduced in one before 60 minutes. So neither of them are starters. So when you're talking about the squad and the balance, this is one of the key challenges and the key questions, and it's something that I think the manager could do with having an answer for, really, which is genuinely, who's playing left-hand side if Cody Gakpo's not there?
Yeah.
Because I think that Cody Gakpo, I wasn't as down on him as others were against Chelsea, but I think it's reasonable to say that Gakpo's not played well, or as well as you'd like, and it's reasonable to say that Salah's not played anywhere near as well as you'd like. Well, it's one thing to carry one in your front three. It's another thing entirely to be carrying two. So before you even talk about the centre forward, you talk about Isak's fitness, that's a thing. So something he might have in his mind, because he said it out loud, is this: that Ekitike goes there, and then from there Isak goes through the middle, and that's the plan, and that's what we're going to see at some point. That can happen at some point, but for now, it feels as though he's quite clear that he wants to exchange Ekitike and Isak. Maybe that's different when we get back from the international break. Isak presumably gets more time on the pitch playing for Sweden, so it's a bit more match sharpness and match fitness that can sort of factor in there. So maybe we get to see this, which if if everyone was pairing, or 90% pairing, or toss of a coin pairing, but everyone was fit, and we had a cup final tomorrow, I'd pick that front three. And I'm saying that I have never seen Hugo Ekitike play left-hand side.
Well, we got it for about 3 minutes, didn't we, before he went off, which was a little bit of a shame. But yeah, that's what I would love to see. I think I'd like to see that, starting from Man United at home, to be honest with you, because I think it's a real opportunity to come back with a little bit of a bang. So I'd love to see that. My concern is, does it put too much pressure on the fullbacks?
Yeah, but no, it could well put too much pressure on the fullbacks, but if, the fullbacks are sitting a little bit deeper, so this comes back to what is it that you want, how is it that you want to play, what is it that you're looking at here, what is it that he wants to do, and that's why at the minute I think this is all a little bit, I'm not saying this is easy for the manager and for his coaching staff. I think there's anything you want to do throws open questions. So for instance, I at the minute think you can make an argument to do this, which is that you go and you say, what, the way we're going to play is something like this, and it's helpful that he's there for this, and that's the way we're going to play. We're going to effectively say to Wirtz, we want you to be an 80-10 rather than a number 10. We want you to do 8-ish things as well. We recognise that might have a vulnerability, but we'll address that as we go. We say to Gravenberch, who, by the way, gets a goal and an assist in a Merseyside derby by virtue of the fact that he's pushing forward more, but we say to Gravenberch, you're sitting. This is the job now, you sit. And that's the player that you're going to be. And then from there, you're then asking different things of the fullbacks, but maybe, just maybe, this becomes the direction of travel. And you can go, okay, this is where we are. And, when we talked about the defence, what you can then end up with, conceivably, is something that can look a little bit like this, where you end up, forgive the nature of this, but let's just move Gravenberch to there, where Gravenberch effectively becomes that player. And then you've got the left back where I've just put that other red dot. He pushes on, and that's the way we're going to attack. Not necessarily the shape that we're going to go into when we haven't got the ball, but that's how we're going to attack. And that we feel as though that is that is a good process and it's a good way home. And then from there, then you're in a situation where you've got McAllister to back up Wirtz, especially whilst he's getting himself sort of straight. You've got Jones to back up Szoboszlai. We've seen Jones from time to time do stuff over to the right-hand side. Just leave Dan's there and move him out of the way. And then from there, you know, you can do whatever. But listen, that's just one way to do it. There's other ways here which are a little bit different, where you can say, you know, what we are going to do is it is going to be McAllister in there. And then we are going to, you know, for the sake of argument, it's going to be a 2 in a 4-2-3-1. That's how we're going to play it. And then from there, then you just end up saying, and that's fine if that's the case, it is going to be McAllister with Jones back and McAllister up in this way of it. But then from there, it becomes, well, what's your plan? And what is the plan? And what was the plan? Because they bought these players. So what was the plan for Szoboszlai and Wirtz? Was it to share a position? Was it that, you know, one gets one game and one gets the other one? Man United at home, it's Wirtz, and Eintracht Frankfurt away, it's Szoboszlai, because you think it'll be tougher. And then you're going to go from there. Was that the plan? That doesn't seem very Liverpool to me, in that it doesn't seem very, you get your players on the pitch,